Just witnessed the great entrance, as we would call it in the church. Of course, this is where the priest and the deacon, as we move forward, the deacon typically takes the paten while the priest holds the chalice. And remember, as I said earlier, what's on the scadion, on the chalice, is Christ, Panagia, the 9 orders of saints. The bishop is representative of the metropolis, and also the living and the dead. The whole church is represented on that Discadion, and that, again, that is prepared during the Orthros service at the liturgy of preparation. But what you just witnessed is the entrance of the great entrance of the church, which is symbolic of Christ entering into Jerusalem. So that takes place every Sunday, even though Palm Sunday is the day we really commemorate it as we enter into the church. Every Sunday is resurrectional in nature. Every Sunday has, as I mentioned before, has the resurrection, Apolytikia, the anastasis, the resurrection of our Lord, because Sundays are always resurrectional in nature. If you come into the church, you will see the gospel in the narthex, next to, as you're right, as you come in, next to the doors entering from the narthex into the nave of the church. That gospel is placed there only on Sundays because it is a resurrection. Remember before I said about the Eothina, the resurrectional gospels. After the priest reads the resurrection gospel in the altar from the side of the altar table, because it represents the witness of the angels that witnessed Christ's first resurrection when the apostles went there. They saw an angel standing to the side of where Christ was laid. And that is why we as clergy read the gospel lesson, the Elthina of the resurrection gospels, to the right side of the altar table. Then we bring it out, and during the 50th Psalm, the people venerate the resurrectional gospel, and it's placed in the narthex with the resurrectional side out. If you happen to look at the gospel lesson, there's two sides to the gospel, a resurrectional side and a crucifixion side. On Sundays, the resurrectional side is faced up. The other 6 days of the week, the gospel is crucifixion side up, because during the week we commemorate the crucifixion of Christ, and every Sunday is resurrectional in nature. That is why when you come in, you'll see the gospel with Christ being resurrected. It's the anastasis icon on the resurrectional gospel. So these things are always there to remind us of Christ's resurrection, of Christ's crucifixion, and what he did for us as we move forward. As the deacon commemorated the entire church at the beginning of the liturgy in the petitions, he'll do the Pneumaticana, or the second set of petitions as we come up. We commemorate all those in the church, and those who are not in the church, and those who are sick or suffering. And what you should be doing, my brothers and sisters, when the deacon says those, we commemorate the living and the dead. Think about those who have passed before you. Say a little prayer for them. When he asks for those who are sick or suffering or in captivity, think of those people. Say a little prayer for those people that are sick or suffering or in captivity. Maybe you know somebody that did something wrong and is repenting for their ways and are in jail. And they're repentant, but they're serving their due time. Pray for them. That is the point in the liturgy, that we all, not just the priest, it's not a show. You're not here for a show. You're here for liturgia. You're here for work. It's the work of the people. Because remember, Christ says, where 2 or 3 or more are gathered in my name, you serve the liturgy. The priest never, in the Orthodox tradition, the priest never, ever can serve the liturgy alone. He has to have either the chanter or 1 or 2 lay people. We don't serve the liturgy alone because it's the work of the people. We are together serving liturgy. You have to have the clergy and the laity. When a priest is ordained, or a deacon is ordained, or a bishop is ordained, the bishop comes out and says, axios. He's worthy. And the response is, by the people, axios. He is worthy. The people are validating the clergyman's worthiness as they come forward. This is a very interactive, if you would, divine liturgy, where St. John Chrysostom, it hasn't changed since the 6th century and won't change. There are nuances that change. Of course, we change the bishop when a bishop passes away, or we get a new bishop, or at the end of the liturgy, we had our synaxes with our Metropolitan Apostolos, and he ask that we now commemorate, we have a new patron saint, that's the bishop's prerogative, of our metropolis. It is Saint Iacovos of Evia, a very new saint. He lived during the Second World War, he lived during the 1940s, 30s, 40s, and I believe passed away in the late 1990s. He is now our patron saint of the metropolis, and I will commemorate him at all of the apologies, at all the dismissal prayers in the service, to remind you that Saint Iacovos of Evia, if you know Greece, Athens is here and Evia is that big island. It's an island. It's a little causeway that goes between the two, but Evia is one of the larger islands of Greece, and he was there and lived, and we read his Synaxarion, his life, in the book club of our parish. It's a short book. See Faye in our bookstore. She probably has a couple copies of it. It's like 100 pages long. It's a very easy read, and I enjoyed the book thoroughly. I read it in one reading. Familiarize yourself with the life of the saints, especially Saint Iacovos of Evia, as he is a modern saint, and he talks about his trials and tribulations during the Second World War. So let us continue with the Divine Liturgy.